Okay, guys, we have an update on the ship aground in the Northwest Passage in northern Canada. Turns out there was a Canadian pilot on board at the time of the grounding. This is the story from the Maritime Executive, which was published on the 12th of September, 2025. Nearly a week after the Dutch cargo ship ran aground in a remote part of the Canadian Arctic, during a trip on the Northwest Passage, a salvage master and naval architect are due to reach the vessel. They are working on a plan for the ship, which is reportedly stable, but has taken on water in multiple ballast tanks. The operator said that the salvage team would reach the vessel by the end of the week. In addition, the Canadian Coast Guard vessel, Sir Wilfrid Laurier, is being used to transport personnel and equipment to the remote site. The Canadian Coast Guard reported that an underwater survey was completed on September the 8th using ROVs 2 days after the vessel grounded. The 21,359 DWT vessel, which was sailing from China to Quebec, is carrying a load of carbon blocks used in manufacturing in heavy industry. The ship went aground in the Franklin Strait in Nunavut. A crew of 15 people is on board the vessel, along with a Canadian ice pilot. There are no injuries, but they are stranded in a remote part of Canada, away from any large settlements. The survey of the hull confirmed the damage to the ballast tanks, but the fuel tanks do not appear to be damaged, and there is no flooding in the cargo holds. A second Canadian Coast Guard vessel, the Jean Goodwill, has remained on the scene. The Canadian Coast Guard reports the vessel's owner and salvage master have organized additional equipment and personnel. Currently, the damage is being analyzed to develop a salvage plan. The vessel, which was built in 2013, is 564 feet or 174 meters in length. The ship, which is registered in the Netherlands, was inspected in Canada in March of 2024 and again in 2025 with no issues reported. She has an ice class. Media reports from Canada highlight that only 18% of Canada's Arctic waters have been mapped using modern technology. Much of the Northwest Passage, they note, lack modern charts. The Transportation Safety Board of Canada revealed in an announcement yesterday that this is the second grounding of the season in the same general area in the eastern end of the Northwest Passage. It reported that an investigation team is on its way to St. John's, Newfoundland, to interview the crew of the cargo ship that went aground. The vessel, which is registered in Canada, went aground on August the 23rd in Pili Bay, Nunavut. And unlike the current situation, the vessel was refloated with the tide. It was conducting a supply mission to the region and was inspected for damages after the refloating. She is expected to reach St. John's over the weekend. This is the first time I've seen anything about this sickened vessel going aground in Nunavut. Luckily for them, they were able to get refloated when they got a high tide. And doesn't seem to be any damage to the ship. So a very different situation, that's for sure. But they still got very lucky. This is a very remote area. And the longer this takes to get done, the less chance they have of success. All they need is the pack ice to come in, and this vessel will no longer be accessible until next July sometime. That's a long way from now. Alright guys, there it is. As always, thanks for watching. If you're new here and you like these kind of videos, don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and I'll see you on the next one.